Hey everyone, it's Marianne from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. So I received a message this morning. Appears that Ms. Lynne Winderbaum and Rodney Grubiak on the UFT retired teacher chapter page from West Florida is at it again. So here we are going back into debunking mode. Why? Because we have nothing better to do. It appears a post was made by a retired teacher who was asking who actually made a statement and then asked a question. And the statement was that she was speaking with Medicare Advantage, representatives selling insurance. And she was looking to secure a Medigap plan for herself. And she had a question about the Medicare Advantage plan, that she was finding out that from the Medicare representatives that Medicare Advantage is not Medicare as we know it. It is private insurance that does not cover all of what real Medicare does, and it is a lesser insurance. And she says, am I correct? All of the documentation I've gotten is very complicated. And of course, what does Lynne Winderbaum do? Because a retired teacher who makes about $80,000 a year and is a shill basically for everything that comes spewing out of the United Federation of Teachers, Michael Moger's office, has to, of course, put her 2 cents in. And she says, wrong, 100% wrong. You are covered for everything that ordinary Medicare Parts A and B cover, everything, and that there are many additional benefits beyond what you get with ordinary Medicare. So, Lynn, let's break this down for you in very simple terms. See, Medicare Advantage does have to cover everything in A and B, but how they do it is different. They do not have to cover everything the way Medicare Original does. There are no prior authorizations, actually very few, like for example, for transplants, like for heart and kidney. However, in Medicare Advantage, there are plenty of prior authorizations. I know what you're going to say, Lynn. You're going to say, but the United Federation of Teachers and the MLC suspended most of them. Well, you suspended some of them. You didn't suspend all of them. And those can be renegotiated every 2 years and added back in or more played with every 2 years according to the contract. Don't lie about that. It's in writing. I did another video on it. You can go and check that out as well. So yes, but then you say additional benefits. Well, what is a benefit, Lynn? Is it a benefit to get some meals, like 14 meals or 12 meals when you get discharged from the hospital? It's only a benefit if you're in the hospital and get discharged. That you would have rides to certain to doctors within a certain geographic area. If your doctors don't accept the plan, where would you be getting those rides to? And why would you be trading your unfettered access to doctors around the country for just a handful of rides and a couple of perks and an over-the-counter medicine benefit? Why would you do that? Insurance is supposed to cover you for healthcare, for doctors, hospitals, medical providers. You should not be trading your unfettered access to medical providers for a perk. That is either a perk if you're going to use it, and if it doesn't and it's not something you will use, is not a perk to you. So you're giving up your benefit. You have to accept that. You accept that you want an over-the-counter benefit card, or rides to your doctors, or a couple of meals when you get discharged from the hospital. You're waiving your right that your doctor makes the decisions for you, and you have to be okay with that. And you're also waiving the right that your doctors in your area may or may not take your plan. Even if they say that, oh, it's a PPO plan and you could use any doctor in that even if they're not in the Aetna network, they have to accept it for billing. And if they don't, you have to pay out of pocket. You have to be able to pay out of pocket. And not everybody is like Lynn and makes an almost $80,000 pension. Can't always pay that. So if Lynn is okay with paying that, well, then God bless Lynn. But for the rest of us that don't make an $80,000 pension, then that's not a choice. You have to stay with the doctors that your insurance will cover. Otherwise, you're paying for it out of pocket. You then have to submit it to Aetna and hope that they reimburse you. In the contract, it actually states that if you were going to see a doctor that accepts Medicare but not this plan for payment, you should, even though those doctors that are not in network don't have to apply for a prior authorization, you, the retiree, have to call them for pre-visit confirmation to see if they would cover that visit. Why would you do that? That's an added burden to you. And the contract even states that they know and readily recognize that there are parts of the country, the United States of America, where there is no network for Aetna. And many doctors in those areas may not accept this plan for payment. That's leaving you without coverage. Why would you do that? So that, to me, I'm sorry, that is not the way she describes this, as they have to cover everything. The doctors don't have to accept this plan. Hard stop right there. But she's not done. She then decides to gaslight her and shame her by saying that that it's premium free, and it's a shame that a Medicare rep who sells policies is someone you cite as a source of such misinformation. It's even more shameful that you would consult such a source when the plan you are being offered has set up dozens of webinars, dozens of in-person meetings all over the nation, offers a phone number, see top of this page, that you can call with questions, has a website with a wealth of resources for you to learn everything about the plan, and has sent tons of materials to us in the mail. But instead, you ask for a Medicare rep to ignore the information available to you and educate yourself about the plan. This is a Medicare Part C, and as such must cover by law everything that ordinary Medicare covers. Plus, you pay no premium. Okay, Lynn, oh my God. Gaslighting at its most amazing. You never cease to, to shock me. They are Medicare representatives. They sell insurance all day long, and they will tell you for a fact that Medicare Advantage is not Medicare. It's not Medicare, and it's not an Advantage. And while they do have to cover the basics of the same things, how they do it is the difference. So already said that to you. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but clearly that's what you're wanting me to do. But you need to educate yourself. She then continues that plus you pay no premium. You need no prior authorization for MRIs, CAT scans, x-rays, and many other common tests and procedures. Wrong. X-rays are not included in that. And there's a million other things that are not included in that. And even though most of those other procedures or tests were temporarily suspended, like I said, every 2 years, according to the contract, they could be added back. Knowing that Michael Mulgrew negotiated this plan and it was okay to strip you of all of your choices and things that you earned over your lifetime of your benefits to force you into one plan that he wanted you in. Do you not think he's going to add more prior authorizations back? Because in the last contract with the Alliance, the insurer asked the city, what would you like me to do with the $350 ER copay? And the city wrote back, don't institute it in the first year to facilitate transition into the plan, but institute it in year 2. Guess what? Things are coming. She also says that your deductible is only $150 annually instead of $226 for ordinary Medicare, plus $50 more for your supplemental. Well, you know what? I would rather pay the deductible, which means if I'm not going to the doctor, then I'm not paying the additional deductible. But even after you pay the deductible for Medicare and the deductible for senior care, in the Aetna plan, unlike the senior care plan, in the Aetna plan, you're paying a $15 copay for just about everything. And to show you that you're paying $1,500 more a year in medical expenses than you were in Medicare and senior care, there's a $1,500 cap on out-of-pocket expenses, which means right out the gate, you're spending $1,500 more than you are the other way. It's not the same, Lynn. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you've been lied to, you've been brainwashed, and you just keep on spewing the same misinformation, but it's not the same. Medicare Advantage is not Medicare, and the plan can change. What it looks like today may not be what it looks like in 2 years from now or in 5 years from now. And still, you're faced with the fact that there are prior authorizations. There are pre-visit confirmations that you have to get, and that doctors don't have to accept that plan. And just because they're in it today doesn't mean that they'll be in it tomorrow. So the drug plan, the SilverScript drug plan, why would you pay $135 starting in January for a drug plan when on the marketplace you can get a drug plan for about $7 or $8? $20. That covers more than what the SilverScript plan does. Also, did you know that the drug costs in the SilverScript plan in some cases are more expensive than what they are even in Emblem's plan? But you're okay with forcing people into that too. This is shocking that we're even having this conversation. So I'm not even going to read the rest because it's just a bunch of garbage. But in short, the lady that posted this, you were 100% correct. Medicare Advantage is not Medicare, and it is not an advantage. And regardless of what Rodney Grubiak and Lynne Winderbaum from the United Federation of Teachers Retired Teacher Chapter want to say, that lady was 100% correct. The representative selling insurance is absolutely correct. Also, know something. If you go into Medicare Advantage right out the gate when you are eligible for Medicare, you may have a problem getting back into a supplemental plan later on. Once you're over 65, you would be subject to underwriting. And of course, she's in the state of Florida. God bless the state of Florida for that, because every state has rules that are different than the other. There's only 4 states in America that have a guarantee issue. That means that you are guaranteed to be issued a policy regardless of age or disability. However, if you are over 65 years old, you may have a grave difficulty in getting into a Medicare supplemental plan because you would be subject to underwriting. What 65-year-old doesn't have pre-existing conditions at this point? And if you're under 65 and on disability, it may be absolutely impossible for you to get a supplemental plan. Because states, while they have provisions for over 65, they don't have provisions for those under 65. So she's trying to sell you a load of BS because she's carrying her boss's water. It's okay. To the lady that asked that question, you're absolutely 100% correct. Please start doing your homework and trying to secure what the plan would be that you would want if you wanted to secure a Medicare supplemental plan and waive your city health benefits. Yes, you would be losing your Medicare B reimbursement and your IRMA if you qualify, as well as your drug plan, and you would have to apply to the United Federation of Teachers because they just want to make it more difficult and have you apply on an annual basis to get your reimbursement from your union welfare fund for your drug plan. You wouldn't keep your other welfare fund benefits, and rely on our organization, the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees, because we are the ones that will be filing the litigation against the city of New York to stop this mess from happening, because your union had absolutely no problem with putting you in this position, and neither does Ms. Winderbaum or Mr. Grubiak. I don't know. Keep on doing it, guys. We could do this all day long. We do not believe in misinformation. We do not believe in blind loyalty to an organization. If they are wrong, you must call them out that they are wrong. Medicare is not inferior to Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is inferior to traditional Medicare. And as a union person, as a union leader, as a union retiree chapter leader, as labor, you should not be seeking to privatize Medicare. This is a public health benefit, and these companies, including Aetna, are under investigation by the Health and Human Services Office of the Inspector General for committing fraud in billing. And yet, here is a group of labor leaders who have lost their way with absolutely no problem with privatizing Medicare, a public health benefit. www.nycretirees.org. Join our organization, sign up for our emails, make a donation to our legal fund, because clearly we're the only ones looking out for you. Have a great day, everyone.